The time is 7:30. The date is October 6, 2025. At this time, I will call the Town of Mount Airy Town Council meeting to order. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first up on our agenda this evening is the presentations portion, and I will relinquish to Mayor Hushauer.
Mr. Richard Turner to join me up here. Test, test, test. Okay, that's a little bit better. Richard Turner is the Chief Executive Officer of the Carroll Media Center, so it's an honor to have you here tonight.
Absolutely.
Very nice to see you.
Thank you, Mayor.
And tonight what we have is a proclamation for the Carroll Media Center that I'll read out, recognizing all the service that they provide to our community and all the entertainment on TV. When we're done with our council meetings, we get to go home and watch it. So, and if we feel bad about it, we watch some of the other towns, and that makes us feel better. So, not picking on anyone. Okay, the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the Community Media Center of Carroll County provides community members, nonprofit organizations, schools, and government agencies with the resources to produce and distribute digital media content of importance to their local communities, and whereas the Community Media Center plays a vital role in civic participation by providing coverage of municipal meetings, local elections, and community events. And whereas the Community Media Center partners with our local schools and colleges with internship opportunities and celebrates our student athletes with the CM Sports Nets award-winning coverage of local sports, and is developing CM Sports Net Plus, a live streaming service featuring coverage from every Carroll County high school stadium and gymnasium. And whereas the Community Media Center has established Channel 18 as the first local cable access channel in the nation to provide 24/7 coverage dedicated to local sports programming, and whereas the Community Media Center works to preserve our local history, provides a means for diverse communities to tell their stories, and empowers individuals to create content to inform, connect, and improve the quality of life of our residents. Now, therefore, be it resolved that October 20th, 2025 is hereby proclaimed as Community Media Day within the town of Mount Airy, and all residents are hereby called upon to promote the importance of community media, the services and training available at the Community Media Center of Carroll County, and the programming available on cable channels 18, 19, 23, and high def 1027, and online at carrollmediacenter.org. So thank you. That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
Well, that's a lot of media centers and saying community without stumbling through it. So, did you have a few words?
Thank you. Well, thank you, Mayor, and also thank you to the council members, staff. It's really a pleasure. This is a recognition that happens usually annually across the country, and so it's really a pleasure to be able to highlight what we've done here in Carroll County, and particularly in Mount Airy. Mount Airy is a model of using technology to engage the citizens. We're among the first that I was aware of that use this kind of capability in a remote fashion, under which our staff is located back in Westminster, but we're able to continue to engage our residents. And when we look at our social media analytics, Mount Airy is among the highest of audience participation within social media. So it clearly shows how it's a testament to not only what technology can do, but to your community and your residents. So I want to thank my staff for the great work that they do. They are behind the cameras. You don't see them much very all, but they're back in our control room making it possible. And it's really a testament, again, to the model of what we can do in community when we have these resources available. So many thanks.
Well, we look forward to a continued partnership.
All right, very good.
Thanks. John, can we get a photo or? We'll stand up here.
more, John, as well. Or you can send yours. That's right. All right. Thanks again.
I was gonna say. All right, next up on our agenda, we have our public comment portion of the meeting. How many people here wish to speak? All right. Whoever would like to go first, please come up. Just state your name and your address for the record. And we have about 2 minutes.
Good evening, council members. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kira Kovalyova. I am a Mount Airy resident, and I live at 1002 Park Ridge Drive. So I'm speaking tonight here with concern about Ordinance 2025-19. Not because I disagree that our water and sewer system needs stable funding, but because this proposal imposes a rate hike on our water bills that is above the level of inflation, and it locks Mount Airy residents into an open-ended automatic increase cycle. In 2023, through Ordinance 2023-37, the town already approved increases on our water bills, up to 25% on some water rates and 33% on the sewer flat fee. Now, this new ordinance adds another 8% each year to consumption rates in 2026, 27, and 28. And as it is written now, those 8% increases keep repeating thereafter until changed by ordinance. That means that our town residents are placed on a rate escalator with no written-in review requirement or accountability. Essentially, we have a ticking time bomb inside every Mount Airy water bill. For a household like mine, this translates into a 15% cumulative increase in water costs over the next 3 years, 2026 to 2028. Yet official inflation is running around 3%, not 8%. At the same time, our town property taxes were raised 18% in 2024. Energy costs are up, not to mention that groceries and healthcare bills keep growing every quarter. I feel like every bill now I have to fight. This year, residents of Frederick County received a 5% property tax rate increase on top of already higher property assessment from the state. Our town families, and especially the part of our population who are on fixed income, simply will struggle to keep up with absorbing these rate shocks. The Water and Sewer Commission's presentations, as was available to public, clearly identified real needs: aging infrastructure, rising operating costs, and a 6% budget deficit. And I understand about proprietary funding, that it has to come from collecting the budgets from the residents. But fiscal responsibility should mean balancing sustainability with affordability. And from a community perspective, this is how it looks to town residents. You've probably heard this yourself. It's hard to understand how the town can afford a new police station and traffic roundabout, yet not close this water budget gap. Therefore, I urge the council to revise this ordinance and 1, limit annual rate increases to the rate of inflation and no more. And 2, require a transparent review and reauthorization in 2028 before any future rate increases take effect. I call on town to look for ways to strengthen the water and sewer fund without outpacing residents' ability to pay. Explore efficiencies, face capital spending, or seek infrastructure grants. Please do not give future town government a blank check to raise rates automatically. Thank you.
Thank you. Whoever's next, feel free to come on up.
Good evening. My name is Judy Gill, and I am a town resident. Actually, My husband and I were born in Mount Airy, so 67 years. So this year. I have 3 craft show, vendor shows, events coming up, and I just wanted to mention them. Go ahead.
No, I just.
Oh, I thought you were.
No, I do this when I'm trying to listen. It helps me listen.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
that's okay. That's okay. The first one is the Mount Airy Senior Center. It's on Saturday, November 8th. It is from 10 to 2. It's held at the Senior Center. The Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company is having one December 7th from 10 to 3. It's held at the MAVFC Reception Hall. That's at the Carnival Grounds. My daughter and I have actually chaired this event for 14 years. We have people, it's well-known, it's always the first Sunday in December, and it's got to be well-known that we have people come from Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, Hanover, all over the place now. So it's actually a pretty well-traveled event. Very proud of it after 14 years. Lisbon Volunteer Fire Company Auxiliary is Sunday, December 14th from 10 to 3, and it is held at Lisbon Volunteer Fire Company. All is free to the public to enter. We have lots of homemade, unique crafts. We do have a few vendors like Tupperware Cincy and Tastefully Simple and a few more, but most of it is probably 95% homemade crafts in all 3 of these events. You can find gifts for the holiday season, birthdays, babies, gifts, and more. I'll be putting flyers out in the Mount Airy area. I walk about 95% of Mount Airy and put into the businesses, so look for those. Please come out, bring a friend, and support these nonprofit organizations, and we would appreciate it. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the information.
Good evening, council members. My name is Linda Schaff, and I live at 804 Candy Apple Avenue in Wildwood Park. And I just wanted to speak about the water and sewer rates. I spoke with our HOA president, Diane Bayless, and she had done some research, and there was no significant increase since 2012. So in 13 years, it's bound to need an increase. And we've come up with, in 3 years, at 8% annually, it would be a 26% increase if it's compounded. So, and if it's done that way, it would be the 26% increase. As long as some of this is going to go to help clean our water. That's our basic thing that we're concerned about. We understand the remediation process was supposed to be helping by the end of this year, and that hopefully the treatment center can be built by the end of next year. So as long as some of that can go to that so that we can get some clean water in Mount Airy, that's what we're interested in. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, council members. I have 2 topics to speak on. I promise to be brief. My name is Emily Benecase. My husband Kevin and I live at 1904 South Main Street. Okay. I'm here to first speak in support of Councilman DeMotor's motion to remove South Main rezoning from the master plan. It's been mentioned that we should just revisit rezoning at the 5-year mark, but that's actually just 2 years from now. The facts surrounding South Main residents' opposition are unlikely to change in that time. People might move, but is it really very likely that a new resident who just purchased a home is going to wish to have their property rezoned to commercial? Especially because folks are generally going to have very little equity in their homes in less than 5 years. Why would anyone who just moved here rezone so their house can be knocked down other than overwhelmingly favorable economics on the deal? These homes will also remain affordable by nature, by virtue of their location, size, they will be historical in nature and with large lots and small town character. I therefore wonder why Mr. Gent continues to refer to our neighborhood as optimal for commercial development. And in the words of Councilman DeMotor, this plan to build commercial buildings where my house now stands remains a house of cards under mild scrutiny. As for the water and sewer increase, I reviewed the Water and Sewer Commission's presentation to the council, and notably absent was any discussion of reducing operating costs. Residents of Maryland have seen electricity bills increase by hundreds of dollars, and I ask that you consider this fact before you increase the cost of basic necessities even further. Please do not follow the legislative example of Congress, which continuously increases spending with no discussion of cost-saving measures and contributed to our government's current predicament. Mount Airy residents should not have to bear the cost of poor budgeting and indifference to where the money is spent. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? All right, hearing none, we have no speakers tonight, so we'll move on to approval of council meeting minutes and closed minutes. First up, we have the September 2025 Town Council meeting minutes. I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor of approving the Mount Airy Town Council meeting minutes from September 8th, 2025, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, then we have our September 2025 closed meeting minutes. The first one subject was litigation. I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor of approving the September 2025 closed meeting minutes under litigation, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and our next one was September 2025 closed meeting minutes. Subject was land acquisition. I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor of approving the September 2025 closed meeting minutes under land acquisition, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Then we have our Civil Air Patrol report with First Lieutenant Aaron Lavelle.
All right, that's really low. That'd be great. Because I'm not even going to try to make an attempt at that. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks, John.
Good evening, everybody. Yet another month has passed, and we've had plenty of time to go ahead and rack up a whole lot more activities for our cadets and senior members. Most significant activity for the month of September was that we had multiple different cadets as well as senior members spearheading the Commander's Cup, the Commander's Cup competition. That's aerospace, and character was the 27th and the 28th of this past month. One of the senior members was the primary organizer for both of those events. They were both held at Glenelg High School. We additionally, I believe we had three other Mount Airy cadets that were major participants and organizers of those events. We also had a total of 6 cadets that participated in the training for the Cadet Advisory Council during the month of September. And the other thing we did is members helped move the majority of the squadron supplies out of the Isaac Walton League with only a few remaining, and we did just finish clearing that out this past weekend as well. The squadron provided a 4-person cadet color guard for the 9/11 ceremony held at Pine Grove Cemetery on the 11th. As well as our squadron public affairs officer took some pictures, and I believe he provided that to the town as well. The squadron assisted with the road closures for the Mount Airy Oktoberfest on the 27th. And it was a harrowing day from what I understand, a very long one, but 4 senior members and 3 cadets were responsible for closing both ends of Main Street, as well as provided plenty of information and direction to the attendees. We had 1 cadet earn the major milestone of passing the Earhart and will be ranking up to cadet captain, or has already done so, and 2 cadets promoted within the NCO ranks. The significant training that we had was mostly focused around the Cadet Advisory Council. However, we did decide to take a little bit of extra time during the last week of September, and we really focused on mental health safety. Unfortunately, it's something that we felt that has been overlooked too frequently, and with the start of the school year, we've seen more reports of incidents, and we've had more reports within our own squadron of people that are of teenagers that are struggling with that. So we took an entire squadron meeting to really discuss it and drill down on that and provide some resources for both seniors and cadets. We had 2 cadets that did orientation flights, And our senior members are growing this past month. We have 2 new senior members and 2 new middle school cadets, bringing our total up to 46 members. The squadron's ground team is fully mission capable, and multiple individuals are again available to support the ground operations, SUAS operations, any radio needs. The squadron van is just temporarily out of commission, and Town and Country Auto is taking care of making sure we can open our back door. So that should be back with us this week. The operational problems, we're still looking for a new location. Right now, we have been consistently, though, for 3 weeks at South Carroll High School. We did try the Public Works building. We were really appreciative of it. However, the indoor space was significantly smaller than what we needed, and the opportunity to give it a try was great, and in an emergency situation, we would probably be able to use it again. However, it wasn't quite bright enough outside to be able to feel like it was safe enough for our cadets to be able to be out there. So we have had inquiries still out there with the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company to see if we can, where that status is. We provided them all the information that they requested. However, we still have yet to hear anything back from them. And as well as the senior center, this is the same situation. We've requested more information there. We've given them as much information as we can give them. And we, would be open to either location. But until we have that, our supplies are located at the Maryland Wing. And then we will continue to meet at South Carroll High School. It's not a bad option. It provides all the things that we do need. It has plenty of space. However, it doesn't keep us in the town of Mount Airy. And what we have found is that people want it here. I mean, the town actually wants it here. We've got members that are asking for it to come back within the, Mount Airy limits. So that is where our goal is. On the horizon, we plan to assist, or rather we did assist with the Model Rocketry Day at the Maryland Wing headquarters this past weekend. And there will be both the emergency services and the leadership events for the Commander's Cup. The emergency services one will be held at the Maryland Wing headquarters, and the leadership event will be held at South Carroll High School. And that'll be on the 11th and then the 25th. So I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. All right.
A quick question. So regarding the fire company and the senior center, just a clarification, are you in contact with somebody specific, or are you emailing a general email box, or might be getting lost?
For the Mount Airy, for the volunteer fire department, our fire company, it's Sue, and I can't remember her last name for the life of me.
Sue Hubble, yeah.
Yes, and for the senior center, now you're going to try my brain here.
It's not like a general email box.
No, it is not a general email box. It was specific individuals, and we were told we were going to be put on the agenda for the fire company. I don't know how frequently they meet, but we have yet to hear anything back. And I did inquire and heard nothing. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company report, but I don't see Matt in the audience. So we'll skip over that and go right to our Mount Airy Police Department report with Chief Ginevra.
Good evening, Mount Airy community, Mr. Mayor, and Town Council. For calls for service, the Mount Airy Police Department had 550 calls for service in the month of September. And if anyone, just a little joke here, if I get the month wrong, please somebody correct me. Please just correct me, right? So, yes, so 550 calls for service for the month of September, 29.39 decrease of calls for service in comparison to September of 2024, where we had 779 calls for service. For recruitment, we have 3 applications that have been submitted for lateral positions, and one just recently, but it's not on my report here, that we obtained today, another application for an entry level. I'm happy to share also that I do have on there noted that one applicant for a lateral officer position that's still being processed. I am pretty much at 99% complete, that I'm hoping to have a newly sworn officer for the town starting October 14th. And that'll be a lateral officer, and they'll complete their 80 hours plus of field training and so forth with Mount Airy Police Department. So I'm happy to announce that. For our canine deployment with Canine Officer Eberts and Paisley, 4 scans were conducted, resulting in narcotic seizures, and all of those investigations are still currently pending. The Mount Airy Police Department, along with several other agencies, the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, the Mount Airy Police Department, Maryland State Police Department, Westminster City Police Department, the Hampstead Police Department, and the Sykesville Police Department conducted a sobriety checkpoint here in Mount Airy at Route 27 at Center Street on August 25th. The results of that were 1,078 vehicle contacts conducted at this checkpoint, 6 drivers conducted on field sobriety test, 45 traffic stops, 2 arrests for driving while under the influence of alcohol, 1 arrest for possessing a controlled dangerous substance, and 1 canine scan was also conducted at that time. Some upcoming events. October 18th is the 3rd annual Wagon Tails event at Watkins Park. October 19th, something that is dear to me, for the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer at 7 a.m. at Watkins Park. We still have shirts available if you'd like to sponsor and be a part of the Mount Airy team. We're up to 22 individuals part of our team. So hopefully you can join or just be a part of that if you'd like to make a donation. All proceeds, if you do donate to the Mount Airy Police Department, that goes to the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer. October 25th, we have the Fall Fest over at the Mount Airy Carnival Grounds with Dan Hasrati and his team from 1 to 5. And after that, on October 25th, something else that is quite dear to me, I like Halloween time, is we have the Trunk or Treat and Costume Contest that starts at 6 p.m. over at the rail yard at the train station. So hopefully you have some little ones or you just want to get out, park over at Watkins Park, enjoy some of the scenes coming through the trail, and then come over to the costume contest, support some of those little ones, and not only that, take a peek at some of the Trunk or Treat contestants. That'll be my report, and if anyone has any questions.
Questions? All right, thank you very much, Chief.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, next up, we have our mayor, council, and staff reports. We'll go on to our mayor's report with Mayor Hushhour.
All right, start my report with the, kind of cover the Historical Society and Mount Airy in general, Mount Scary that is coming up later in the month. History 101 is occurring for 2025. Tonight, they're meeting over at Pine Grove Chapel and learning some stuff over there. So if you get bored with this meeting, you can go over to Pine Grove. But tomorrow night, October 7th, 7 p.m., large room, lower level of the Mount Airy Firehouse. Matthew Borders, a park ranger from Monocacy National Battlefield, will be speaking. The topic will be Held the Bridge to the Last, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad and the Battle of the Monocacy. Wednesday, October 8th, at the Public Library in the large meeting room, James Rada will be speaking. He's a local author, and he'll be speaking on the Daughters of Charity, their work as Civil War nurses, and the focus on Frederick County. And then Thursday, October 9th, the last day of it, 6:30 p.m., again at the Public Library, large meeting room, Betsy Estelo, a retired Hood College professor and member of the Board of Directors of the National Museum of Civil War Medicine in Frederick. Her topic will be the legacy of Civil War medicine and how it affects life today. Other things that are going on, October is the month for mayhem, mystery, arson, and murder. If you don't believe me, just sign up for the Historical Society's Ghost Tours offered several nights this month. Tours will be led by local historian Larry Valet. Tickets are available through Eventbrite or by visiting the Historical Society of Mount Airy's webpage. The Hall of Fame is coming up. If you know somebody who's worthy of being nominated for the Hall of Fame, please go on to the Historical Society's website and nominate them. And then I'll close out with October 24th through the 31st. That's when Mount Airy gets transformed into Mount Scary. October 18th is a movie night for adults with a showing of American Graffiti. I know that's a little bit before, but it's a good movie. That's at dusk in the municipal lot on Veterans Way. October 24th is the family movie night with a showing of Halloween Town. That's at 7 p.m. in Watkins Park. October 25th, as the chief said, costume contest, trunk or treat, spooky trail. That's at 6 p.m. in Watkins Park, right near Rails to Trails. October 26th, Haunted Caboose, 5 to 8 p.m., 30 Foot of Terror, if you dare to go into the caboose and make it all the way through. They have a suggested donation on that one at $2, but no one's going to get turned away. They also have baked goods at the end of the trail, provided you survive getting through there. Okay. October 27th is the online scavenger hunt. October 28th is Pets on Parade costume contest, 1 p.m. That's at Wildwood Park. October 29th is spooky trivia and games, and October 30th, home and business Halloween decorating contest voting ends, and see the town's Facebook page for more information on that. October 31st is the Carroll County Public Library Mount Airy Branch Halloween Story Time with the First Lady, my wife, at the Caboose, 10 a.m. on 2 North Main Street. Okay, Making Strides is a great event. The police have promoted it, and I'm going to promote it again. October 19th, the walk actually starts at 9 a.m., but the chief's going to be there at 7 a.m., so you can come early and talk to him. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Next up, we have the Board of Recreation and Parks and the Sustainability Commission with myself. Due to a scheduling conflict, I was not able to make the Parks and Rec meeting, so next month I'll have a longer-winded update to cover the previous 2 months. So we'll move on to the Planning Commission with Councilmember Kelly.
Thank you, Council President. Planning Commission met on September 29th. The Mount Airy portion of the Carroll County Water Resource Element Draft was approved and now goes to the state for a 60-day review. There were 3 signage approvals that night. An extensive presentation from the applicants requesting annexation of the Warfield property was also given. The applicants provided an initial sketch of their vision for the property as well as answers to the questions posed to them by the Planning Commission in their assessment deliberations. Lastly, the town engineer presented 3 options that could be used to satisfy the conditional final approval that was given for the Green Tree development. The commission provided their feedback, and the final decision now rests with the town staff who work with the developer to provide the quantity of parking spaces that were indicated in the pattern book. The Planning Commission will meet next on October the 27th. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have our Streets and Roads Commission, the Commission on Aging and Livability, and the Flatiron Task Force with Councilmember Munder.
All right, thank you, Council President. The Commission on Aging and Livability met Wednesday, September 24th at 5 p.m. here at Town Hall. Basically, an update was given on the attempts on finding a location for the bocce ball court. Potential locations include the senior center with ongoing discussions with the center. A couple spots around town were talked about. One was at Wildwood Park. I just need to clarify with town staff exactly what we own over there to see if there's enough room and location. And potential land at Prospect Park, potentially when it's redesigned or checked by the basketball court to see if there's a potential for enough land back there. The Mount Airy Senior Center has a new manager, and progress is being made by COLE members for being added on respective counties, commissions, and groups related to aging. It's a good thing to say to follow up on the media center's director's thing that the COLE social media presence is expanding and viewership is up 123%, which is good news. The cross-county transportation MOU is being reviewed by Carroll and Frederick counties. And the holidays are just around the corner, so please come out and support the seniors by purchasing gifts at the Senior Center Holiday Craft and Vendor Fair, which is scheduled for Saturday, November 8th from 10 to 2 at the Senior Center. The next COLE meeting is Wednesday, 10/22, here at Town Hall at 5 p.m. For Streets and Roads, met on Tuesday, September 30th, 7 p.m. in Town Hall. Updates and summaries were given by Sergeant Brooks on speed studies and other traffic-related issues. The town gave updates on several things that were addressed from a complainant related to Park Avenue and Marydale, the intersection there. People like to come up Park Avenue, run the red light, run the stop signs, and endanger the kids, the young kids that are playing there. So we did what we could. We upgraded the stop signs, cut the tree limbs back a little bit more, so people coming up can actually see the stop sign from farther away. Also, there are plans to repaint the crosswalks there, but at the moment, nothing is, it's unfortunate that nothing is scheduled at this time due to other work currently being done and the, I want to say the days and the weather getting colder and shorter, but it will be done if time and weather permits. The traffic circle is progressing and moving along, so please be patient during the construction. It is still expected to be finished in the March and April timeline of 2026. Discussions on installing a crosswalk on Park Avenue from the municipal lot by the vehicles charging stations and steps were discussed. I'll update the commission and the EDC people a little bit more on that. That was a request from business owners related to the EDC roundtable that was held in September. The next meeting is November 25th at 7 p.m. in Town Hall. A quick update on Flatiron Task Force. I will defer to the mayor's report on the amount of funding that has been awarded and we're currently waiting on. The task force meets on an as-needed basis, so there's no update for the next meeting at this time. Thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have the EDC and Recycling and Sanitation Commission with Council Secretary Evans.
Thank you, Council President. I'll start with Recycling and Sanitation. This weekend, October 11th, between 9 and 1 at the American Legion, we're holding a huge e-waste event. Bring all of your old electronics, old batteries, anything that you want to get rid of, now is the time to do it. We'll be there from 9 to 1. The trucks will pick up all the stuff between 1 and 2, and then we'll be gone for that. Yard waste pickups for the rest of the year, October 18th, November 15th, and December 13th for the yard waste pickups. And October 25th, 2025 is the Fall National Drug Take-Back Day. Chief, I'm not sure if we actually got those signs over to you or if we still need to do that.
No, you did. Somebody dropped them off today.
Perfect, thank you. And then October 15th is our next meeting for sanitation and recycling. For the EDC, we had a pretty light meeting. We have moved meetings to every fourth Wednesday of every month now instead of every odd numbered month. This past month, we just reviewed the business roundtable and Ashley gave us a breakdown on all of the action items that are being, the low-hanging fruit that are being taken care of by the town staff. So thank you for the town staff for taking care of a lot of that stuff to keep the business owners a little more happy. That's all I have for my reports this month, and our next meeting for EDC is October 22nd.
Thank you. Next up is the Water and Sewer Commission, the Beautification Commission, and the Inclement Weather Task Force with Councilmember Demoter.
Okay, thank you. Beautification Commission, we last met on September 16th. Weeding and garden maintenance continues around the town and along rails to trails, as are plans to continue to add 2 memorial benches, one to go in the skate park and another one to go at the caboose. The next meeting of the commission is scheduled for October 21st. Water and Sewer Commission met on October 1st. Topics discussed included a quick reference to the water and sewer rate increases that are up for vote this evening. And related to this discussion, the emphasis on the need for a credible capital improvement and operating plan for water and sewer. Commission also discussed a variety of topics for consideration and inclusion in a letter to be sent by the mayor to all town residents regarding the status of issues and actions associated with PFAS in our drinking water supply. A memo from the commission chair to the mayor was prepared and sent to the mayor on September 12th, summarizing the commission's recommendations. We continue to discuss the need for obtaining PFAS measurements at the tap of residences, in particular those nearest to the water stations or wells having the greatest contamination levels. For example, well number 7, as part of water station number 3 in the Twin Ridge community, as these residents are more likely to be getting fed water directly from that well and water station rather than more blended concentrations. We believe there's a need for a plan or strategy for residential water sampling or some alternative approach to better gauge actual PFAS exposure at the residences. If you recall, I think it was back in 2023 when we first discovered the PFAS issue, the town indicated that it was going to try to actively manage the wells in terms of turning some wells on and some wells off to try and limit PFAS concentrations at some of the wells. And the commission determined that the town currently is no longer routinely adjusting well activity as a PFAS mitigation tool. This was done from January through April of 2023, and then it was discontinued, I think because of some of the challenges. We continue to discuss discrepancies between assigned water allocation rates and actual in-practice water usage among businesses and in residential settings, and we will continue to review the available data and try to reach some conclusions and recommendations for process improvements. The key issue here is, what are the checks and balances, and what are the internal controls, and what are the remedies for addressing large differences in actual water usage? The Commission's next meeting is scheduled for November 5th. Inclement Weather Task Force, we met on September 25th. We're continuing discussion of the priority focus on ways to alert residences on impending significant weather events. A key immediate focus is to research and provide a recommendation on the feasibility and the need for an air siren alert system and its operation. The task force finalized plans for the upcoming Hazard Preparation Seminar, which will be provided by the American Red Cross. This seminar will be held here at Town Hall this Wednesday, October 8th, from 7 to 9 p.m. It's also going to be live streamed on Facebook. All residents and businesses are encouraged to attend and learn how you can become better prepared for hazardous weather. The task force is also doing some, what I would call benchmarking of other municipalities, targeting 3 to 4 other towns who utilize warning sirens for hazardous weather and other notifications. So the goal here is to do some benchmarking, learn from the lessons learned from other municipalities who have implemented these kinds of systems in terms of the equipment they have, operational systems, the effectiveness, the responsiveness of the citizens, and just how well it's being a positive tool. And so we're looking at Ellicott City, College Park, Maryland, Talbot County, Emmitsburg, and Calvert County. So we're going to collect that information, bring it back, and we'll factor that into our research and ultimate recommendation back to the council. On that note, I want to give the council a heads up and the council president a heads up. The task force is working towards having a recommendation for presentation to the council in the January 2026 timeframe. So you can lightly pencil that in, and hopefully if we keep working hard the way the task force is, we'll be ready to present some options and recommendations. I did want to also note, I want to thank the mayor. The town has posted a web page for the task force on the town's website. I just wanted to ask the mayor, I did look at it, there's a lot of good information there, but it's missing the key priority that we're focusing on, which is trying to research and provide a recommendation on an air siren notification system. So I think it's important, if you could, to really identify that so people know exactly what our key focus is. It's that, and then providing communication within the community about tools and resources to help you be better prepared. Our next meeting is scheduled for October 15th. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up, we would normally have our town attorney report from Mr. Tom McCarron, but he is out of town right now, so he is not present this evening. We have copies of our town administrator report, our code enforcement report, and the zoning administrator report. Anyone have anything to add pertaining to that? All right. So we'll move on to new business. First up, we have a road closure for approval, keeping it safe in the fields of Nottingham for Halloween from 601 Longbow Road to 811 Longbow Road on Friday, October 31st, 2025, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion for approval.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion?
I have a correction and a couple questions. So the intersection is incorrect on the first page here. I guess if you go back into the, right, it's not the intersection of Watersville and Route 27, which at first gave me pause. But it's back on Longbow Road, the back of Nottingham, just for a correction there, right? So, but I guess the questions I had were, if this is passed, will the town be supporting with signage prior, police support, barrier support? I see soft barriers on here. So I'm just concerned that, are people going to know about it prior? And how safe is it going to be? I realize it's not a high-volume road back there, but I'm not sure what a soft barrier is compared to the, I don't know, what I would consider hard barriers on Main Street. So do we have any color there? Chief, are you dialed into this at all, or?
Actually, I'm unaware of it, other than what we're speaking about right now for the road closure. On the date, on the 31st there, I mean, we could see who we have working, see if we can structure something like that. And if the town has some soft barriers, that we may be able to put up some cones and some maybe bike structures along that way. Maybe we'll make it work. We'll make it work for what the town needs.
To be clear, I wasn't requesting officially, but I'm just, what does this put in motion is, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Well, traditionally, it's like Sterling Glen does a event every year.
Yeah, like a block party.
When it's within a community, we tend to just monitor it.
Got
And we're aware of it. And, but in terms of providing staffing or anything like that, we do not. So.
And putting signage up as a heads up week beforehand, like we typically do with events, that's for the community to
Yeah.
figure out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like an annual event, haunted house thing over that way, so it's pretty well known by the people. So they should be aware to stay clear of those roads.
Is that what you're gonna say?
Sorry,
I
Alice.
spoke with Ms. Lurch, and you can see all the neighbors that signed to, it sounds like it's something they've been doing for quite a while. It may or may not always come in for the road closure, but yeah, it's a neighborhood event, and it really, for them, it's about the safety. Apparently, they get inundated in Nottingham with trick-or-treaters, and it's about keeping the kids safe. But it's like a neighborhood thing.
Yeah. Okay. Question, what support?
Enough.
Yeah.
All right, any further discussion?
No, but I will make the correction on the first page before I sign it.
I had big questions there.
Watersville and 27 is a pretty extensive intersection.
Expanding the celebration for Halloween this year.
It's not I-70.
All right, all in favor of approving the road closure for keeping it safe in the fields of Nottingham from 601 Longbow Road to 811 Longbow Road on Friday, October 31st, 2025, from 5 PM to 8 PM. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Next up, we have a recommendation of award for the roof replacement on the wastewater treatment plant buildings 7 and 2. This is 2 buildings. It's a revised contractor, which is, I think it's under Jared, but do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion for approval.
All right, I'll take a second just to get us in the discussion. Jared, do you have anything you want to just run by?
Just that it's the same proposal that was brought before the council last month. The biggest difference is that there were 3 quotes given in that proposal simply to show that they chose, the general contractor chose the lowest quote that they had received. And we had approved that subcontractor instead of the contractor themselves, which is Garland. So that's really the only change. Everything else is the same.
Okay. All right, so we're just revising the contractor.
Yeah.
All right, do we have any further discussion?
I'm good.
A quick question. I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask. So, and you know, we always, whenever we get these, we hear, well, you know, this is the lowest bidder. This is the, you know, the lowest offer. And my question is, going along with that, is it high quality in terms of references that you've done? I mean, it's great to have low cost, but is this a high quality operation with good, reliable references?
So this proposal was done a little differently than we would normally do, to where we go out and publicly bid and get quotes. This was done through a collective, a public collective, which is through Omnia, which is a national group that holds pre-awarded contracts for public contracts. So we piggybacked off of that, which we are allowed to do with the town. So they do all that pre-bidding background check of all of their contractors that they use. So that was done internally when they were awarded that pre-contract, and then we piggybacked off of that.
All right. So for the recommendation of award for the roof replacement on the wastewater treatment plant, buildings 7 and 2, looks like the revised contractor is going to be awarded to Garland/DBS Inc., correct, in the amount of $71,991. All right, all in favor of approving the recommendation of award to Garland DBS Incorporated in the amount of $71,991, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Oh, we have an addendum for a public works agreement with Antietam Broadband for approval. I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Looks, I know usually we would go to Tom or Jared. It looks pretty simple in our packet. Different initial terms and renewal provisions for the line of credit than what was originally in the PWA.
Yep.
And then the town will retain the ability to require replacement of the line of credit if the bank non-renews before the end of the warranty period.
That's correct.
Those are the only 2 changes in the
Those are the only
PWA.
changes. With letter of credit, changes were the only changes to the PWA.
All right.
Other than, you'll see in Tom's red line, you have the red line copy there to approve. There was a couple of small changes of some names and things like that, but no significant changes to the language.
Okay. Any questions, concerns?
Yes, Council President, a quick question, and maybe it's in here. So with this, it looks like things are going to start rolling once this gets approved. Do you have any understanding of when the start date is on this?
I have not been given a start date yet, but it does sound, you are correct in that it sounds like they have a pretty a fire lit under them to get started, because it's been a little while since this original PWA was approved, and so they're pretty much ready to go once all this paperwork is.
And they can work through the wintertime, freezing conditions, that kind of thing?
I think some of the work can be done in the wintertime, and Barney may correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of that can be done in the winter, correct, Barney?
I think there was a provision, there are certain months that they cannot work.
Yeah,
through the
certain,
winter.
if they have to dig in the ground, they're not going to dig into the frozen ground, obviously. But other than that,
There's 3 or 4 months that they cannot work.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
I'm remembering that.
Thanks, Barney.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest concerns I had, was tearing up people's yards and then leaving it in a mud pit, through the winter, so
And
that's in there.
Yeah, and I just want to say to Councilman Demoter, it appears that they may have already started in certain locations through town, but more above ground and on poles. I see them along Main Street and doing some pole work, so how that affects everything, I'm not sure, but they have started, I think.
And I'm going to say the last thing, just to clarify, I know that we have them in short increments of areas where they're going to work. They have to start, finish, and then move on to another subsequent area where they're not going to be tearing up multiple areas and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, they have 4 phases. 3 of them are on the Carroll County side. It's Phase 3, I think, is all of the Frederick County side. So I think they're starting at the north end, Phase 1, down to, I don't know, Watersville Road or thereabouts, and then continue down Phase 2, go to Frederick County Phase 3, and then finish out the southern part of Carroll County in Phase 4.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor of approving the addendum to the Public Works Agreement with Antietam Broadband, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Then we have one more addendum for a Public Works Agreement for Dennis Kitchen property. We're substituting a developer. This is for approval. Do we have a motion to approve?
Make the motion for approval.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion?
Now, I just want to say this appears to be just being done because the property has been sold. It's for the 1010 South Main Street. The property has changed owners, so it's just more of an update to the Public Works Agreement to basically say who the proper owner is and who is taking over the Public Works Agreement.
That's correct. The first part of this is Exhibit A. The last 2 sheets is the assignment and assumption, which basically just assigns it to the new owner. That's what you're approving, is that assignment and assumption.
And that's the CBI homes,
Correct.
correct? All right, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor for the addendum for the Public Works Agreement for Dennis Kitchen property with the substituting of the developer, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Next up, we have our commission appointments and reappointments. Relinquished to Mayor Hushaw.
Just one this month. I'd like to appoint Gary Fry to the Streets and Roads Commission.
All right, do we have a motion?
Yes, sir. I would like to make the motion for appointment of Gary Fry to the Streets and Roads Commission.
I'll second that.
Cool. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor of appointing Gary Fry to the Streets and Roads Commission, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, welcome aboard, Gary. All right, next up, we're on the ordinances and resolutions. We have one, that is ordinance 2025-19. This is the water and sewer rate increase for adoption. I will say that during this ordinance, I am going to open it up to the public if they have anything that they would like to say, and also to the head of the Water and Sewer Commission as well. So before we do that, though, we will need a motion in a second to get into the discussion portion. Do we have a motion?
Yes, sir. Council President would like to make a motion for approval of ordinance 2025-19.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
In the discussion portion, if the council doesn't mind, I'd like to invite the head of the Water and Sewer Commission up. He has just a brief statement he would like to make.
Yes, you're well aware of the financial situation.
I don't want to interrupt. I'm so sorry. Can you just state your name and address?
Oh, Dick Swanson. I'm the chair of the Water and Sewer Commission, 1107 South Main Street. I just want to emphasize the fact that given the financial situation, which we're all aware of, that this is necessary, unfortunately, but necessary. And I'd also, speaking to what the woman in the back was talking about, cost savings and the fact of rate increases, the amount and all of that, and are we in control of our expenses? One of the key elements of this is passing this ordinance and then creating a group of people who could put together the framework of how you would do a multi-year budget, both for the capital side and the operating side, to ensure the integrity of the expenses to make sure that we don't get ourselves in a financial position like this in the future. So I think that is going to go well forward to alleviate concerns that the citizens may have. I will point out that the water department and the sewer departments are running on a pretty lean budget, and from my experience in dealing with them, that there's not a lot of fat there. That's not going to get us back to where we need to be. And I'd also point out in terms of inflation rate, we should peg the rate increases to that. Well, the problem with that is that for years, it's been noted that the rate of cost to operate a water department and a sewer department and municipality outpace inflation. In other words, that's why you're seeing across the nation water rates going up at a higher rate than the inflation rate, because the costs are outpacing the inflation, and that's just been the history of it. So I'd just like to emphasize, so this is actually what we're asking is a two-phase project. Let's get some financial stability. As these water rates go into effect, let's work on creating the outline of how we would do, what we expect from a multi-year operating and capital budget, and then let's get that program going so we can make sure that we head off any future unexpected cost increase that, where we start drifting into having deficits again. Thank you.
Council President, may I ask Dick a question here? It's about the ordinance. It's anything else. If I heard one of the speakers correctly tonight, they were under the impression that after, say, fiscal year 2028, the rates would continue increasing 8% on an annual basis. But if I'm understanding the ordinance properly, it says, the last rate change is in 2028, and then nothing else can happen unless there is another ordinance to alter the rates again, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
This is a 3-year program, and I'd also point out that if in the council's opinion it became obvious that we were doing well financially on the operating and capital side of the house prior to the 2028, the end of fiscal 2028, that the council at any time can pass an ordinance and adjust those rates. So you're not absolutely 100% locked in.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that because that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I was interpreting
You are
the
correct.
ordinance correctly. Thank you.
Further discussion?
I'm sorry, Dick. Just to confirm, and I think you said this the last meeting, and a speaker also said it. Can you confirm the last time we had an increase was 2012?
We had a small increase in 2023, but the last time we had any major increase was part of a multi-year phase-in to get us out of the same type of predicament we're in now, back in the 2008, 9, and so on. And so that was actually a 5-year program, of which I believe in about the 3rd year of that, we got pretty financially healthy, and then the council elected to not increase those rates for the last 2 years. And I say that's the same opportunity you have now. But yes, and so we went from 2012 to 2023 with no rate increase. That's rare. And of course, you can only do that so long, and then you're going to begin to have that cost outpace your revenues.
Do you remember what the 2023 increase was?
Not off the top of my head. It was modest. It was very
based on a per usage.
Yeah, well, yes, it was, but
fluctuation.
The size of the increase was very small. The reason for that was this was all during the change in the meters, and the data and things like that we had were not. We didn't feel comfortable enough to come in and say this is what we need to do to address the financial situation, because our data on revenues was skewed, frankly. And but we needed to do something. So we decided to do a very moderate rate increase to cover just increases in operating costs without consideration of the capital side of the house.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dick. Any discussion?
Yes, I have some comments.
Sure.
Okay, so I've looked at the ordinance, and I appreciate the need to address our deficit in water and sewer resources. But I always look at the ordinance, and there's always a sentence in every ordinance, and this one has it as well, and this says, "The commission has determined the proposed adjustments to water and sewer rates to be in the best interest of the town." And so it may be in the best interest of town government. I'm not sure it's totally in the best interest of the citizens, and let me expand on that. I guess for me as a policy setter, I would approach this policy setting initiative differently. I don't like the idea of taking an existing rate structure that perhaps hasn't really been thoroughly evaluated in quite a while and simply wrapping around it an 8% across the board increase and then compounding that for 3 years so you end up with essentially a 26% increase. So I don't like that approach. I don't like the fact that we're not actually examining the rate structure itself. And again, when I look at this as a council member, I also live in this town. If I approve this, I'm basically saying, I agree with the rate hike I'm about to impose on myself, and I agree with the rate structure, and I'm comfortable having all the neighbors on my street get this rate structure, as well as all my constituents. And I look at the rate structure, and I believe the way you do this is you first look at the rate structure and really go through that and reevaluate it, because this rate structure is supposed to be a progressive schedule. So a progressive rate schedule is supposed to help ensure that those using more of the resources are truly paying more to support those resources. They're putting more of a burden on the water and sewer systems and et cetera. The other purpose to me of a progressive rate structure is to incentivize and encourage conservation and stewardship and recycling and such. And when I look at the rate structure, there are sections of this to me that are just nonsensical. And we don't have a lot of time, and I know I don't have a lot of time, but I've done a lot of research on this. And just for example, on the sewer side, those rates are pretty flat. And I believe early on there was thinking to do that purposely. But if you look at the extra 20,000 on top of 20,000 on top of 20,000 to the next 80,000 increments of water usage, there's only like a 0.25 cent increase per 1,000 gallons across all of those categories. That to me is not incentivizing people to conserve water usage. So in summary, I would just approach this differently. I think there's a need to do it. I don't like the approach that's taken. I applaud the commission. They've worked hard on this. I'm a solutions-oriented person. If somebody wants to make an amended motion that says we're going to work on this some more for a couple months because this isn't intended to go into effect until January, I'd be happy to help with that. The last thing that was a closer for me, in July, Mr. Swanson gave a presentation, which I encouraged him to do so, to kind of set the table on the need. And I made a statement at that July meeting, and I said, you know, if I don't see in the ordinance a commitment to develop this detailed, long-term capital improvement and operating plan, I'm going to have a hard time supporting the ordinance. And it's not in the ordinance. And then, just factually speaking, at the July meeting, Mayor Hushhour, you said, you said, I need to put a star next to creating a work group to create this operating plan, this capital improvement plan. So that was July, and now it's October. So it's 3 months past, and we still don't have that action. So for all of those reasons, I think there is a need here, but I cannot support this approach. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, Council President. I'll keep it brief here, as much as I can, sir. I did, when this ordinance came up in July, we decided to set it aside for a couple months. Now the couple months is here, and I want to say the cost of operation hasn't gone down. It will only be increasing as time progresses. So we do need to adjust the rates. And I did the calculations. I finally figured out how to deconstruct the water bill to get down to the true cost that it will be for my family and I. And this is based on our last water bill of 10,000 gallons. And once I deconstructed everything, I want to say by the time it is fiscal year 2028, based on 10,000 gallons, it will only go up approximately $8.40 difference for a 3-month period, for a quarter period. So divide that by a day, it's 2 cents or less per day to cover the increase on this. And I'll be happy to explain how I deconstructed it if anyone wants to send me an email, but it's basically the rate is being increased on the rate we charge for this service. That is all. That is based in here per 1,000 gallons, the different rate structures. No flat fees are being changed, no service fees, no system benefit charges are being changed. Even one fee on the water bill is $15. That's a state pass-through, which is the AKA the flush tax. So you have to complain to the state reps on that one. But overall, at the end of 2028, it's not going to be that, in my eyes, is not going to be that large of an increase to ability to just bring us whole, per se, for operating costs. These bills, or the money from it, does not go to, I want to say, replenish the reserve accounts that we have. The system benefit charges, I'm being told, goes to pay for the capital side of it, which is the pumps, the pipes, the equipment at the wastewater treatment plants and pipes and pumps that go bad over time. The fees go towards the operation, which is basically the treatment of the water and sewage. Basically, those costs will go up. As we mentioned here, the PFAS, yes, we did get some money for that. We are in the process of doing that. Those costs will go up on that. So right now, we're just trying to bring it up even keel to be able to afford it to keep going with not draw down on the reserves that are not being replenished. And I know I've said this before, people will disagree with me, but the reserves are replenished via impact fees of development. You have no development, you have no impact fees, you do not replenish the reserves. We've been living off the reserves. The reserves are the cushion for the large projects. So we draw down the reserves, we can't afford the large pipe replacements, pump replacements, or upgrades later at a lower cost via funding bonds or anything else. We use the reserves to offset costs of large projects. So unfortunately, as I said, it hasn't been updated since 2012. Cost is above the cost of inflation. So unfortunately, we have to do it. And I'm going to be paying more too, as every council member and elected official will be too. So that's it, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a couple discussion points. The picture that Chairman Swanson has painted is we can't wait any longer. I mean, costs have been going up. I think we would have all rather, I think we would have all liked to have done this earlier with smaller increases, but that's not, those aren't the cards we're holding right now. the comment about not incentivizing higher water usage, I'm looking at these escalation tiers. The first tier jumps to 80%. So I'm not sure, Councilman DeMona, I'm not sure how this doesn't, de-incentivize larger amounts of water usage. So I'm just not seeing that here. Each tier escalates significantly. To echo what Councilman Munder said, nobody wants to do this. We're all going to be paying high. We're paying more for everything, and we don't want to do this. But we also can't be insolvent in our town's possibly most important utility. Those are my comments.
Any other council members wish to speak? All right, I'll go ahead and go and just give my thoughts. I was on the Water and Sewer Commission when we did the first increase, and that was the first time anything's been increased in this town since 2012. I was then on this panel when we raised taxes. That was the first time taxes were raised since 2008? 2008. So within our first year of being a council, we increased and dug into citizens' pockets twice. No other council before us has done that. For whatever reason, I don't know, and honestly, I don't care. I know that we did. So my question is, why did we do it in 2023 if it didn't do anything? What did we solve? I took a bunch of arrows for doing it and being one of the first ones to do it. Okay? And it got us apparently nowhere. We replaced all the water meters. Okay? I mean, it's a great system that we have now, but they needed replaced. But, we did put a lot of money into the water and sewer sector over these last couple of years, and we dug into citizens' pockets to do it. Now we're being asked, let's do a 24% increase. You can talk about the step and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it's 24%. And I don't know where you get $8 from. 24% is 24%. Okay, it's that simple. But you're asking us to raise it 24% over 3 years, and then we'll figure out where it's going to go, and then we'll figure out what our 10-year outcome is, and then we'll figure out this and that. How about we figure it out first? What if 24% is not enough? What if 24% is too much? The fact of the matter is, nobody sitting in this room knows if it is or if it is not. So we're going to blindly dig in someone's pocket, pull out 24% over the course of the next 3 years, and they're going to ask, where is it going and why? I'm going to look at them and say, I don't know. I don't think any of us up here have that answer. I don't think anybody in that audience has the answer, to be very blunt. So for the second time, we're going to raise rates, and we have no 10-year plan. We have no idea what big capital projects are coming up in the future. And if we do, I haven't been told, and I would think that we should all know that if we're getting ready to vote on this. So my certain questions that I have are, where's the money going? What is it being used for? What is on the horizon as far as needs with our wastewater treatment plant? What will the next rate increase be for? And how much do you think that could be? With the way that things have gone, we have a rate of inflation. What's the rate of wastewater treatment plant inflation? What is that? Does anyone know? We're saying it's more. Okay, well, how much more? We need a forecast. We need to see, look, this is what is to be expected. So therefore, we're not just coming up in July and saying, hey, we just raised you a year ago, we're going to hit you again. And then 3 years from now, inflation is what it is, we got to hit you again. The next thing I will say is, we need to get into this budget cycle, and we need to look internally first. I firmly believe that. I think we need to look internally. I think we need to see the difference between wants and needs. We have a new council member on board now. We have a new town administrator. We have new eyes. I think we need to get creative, and I think we need to do every single thing we can to say this is a want, this is a need, and then we got to figure it out. But I think just going and blindly saying, we don't know what our 10-year plan is, but we're going to up you 24%. If we want to talk about, I mean, I do believe the words, I can't remember what the words were, but basically inept budgeting were used. To me, that is a core inept version of budgeting. To take money out of somebody's pocket and not know why or how much, and if it's even going to make an impact. Long-term, short-term, no idea. So, does it need to be done? Yes. And I think at the end of the day, it probably will be done. But it needs to be done based on fact, not based on opinion. It needs to be done based on a scale of what you're looking at down the road for future councils, for future engineers, for future mayors, for future town administrators. We need to know what this is. We need to know why. And nobody looked at it before because we were sitting on a ton of reserves. Well, now we're not. And honestly, it should have been done when we did it the last time. I'm not willing to do it again. I'm not willing to throw darts at a wall when it comes to people's income. So we as a town, and I'm putting myself in this, I'm not throwing anybody under a bus, we need to sit down with whoever we need to sit down with, and I'm happy to volunteer my time to do it, to figure out a 10-year plan, to figure out and get it in writing and say, these are the capital projects that we have coming up. This is what it's going to cost. This is how much it's going to cost. We can pull from here, from the town side of the budget. We're going to need X from the citizens. But until we have that, we're throwing darts at a wall. And I don't feel comfortable doing that with people's income.
If I may?
Yes, sir.
I agree 100% about, your what you call a 10-year plan and all of that. Absolutely, it needs to be done. But as far as the facts go, where is this money going to go? This money is going to go to the fact that we have a budget this year that is a $500,000 deficit in it. And that kind of budgeting has gone on for the last couple of years. And if that continues, this rate increase does nothing more than says, rather than running deficit budgets, this will bring us to a break-even point and possibly, depending on how inflation goes, a slight margin over that, where you take in the last year more money than you spent. But I can be fairly confident to say most of that will probably be eaten up by inflation. You know where the money's going. You passed the budget with a $500,000 deficit in it. So I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is get us back to financial stability, and as a couple people have mentioned here, what we need to do is look to the future with a written, concrete plan of capital and operating over the course of multiple years that tells us, as best we know at the time the plan is made and updated, where we're going and what we need. I can tell you that the water department people went out, pulled a pump out of the ground up there near the elementary school. You know what the date of that pump, water pump was? 1920s. We're talking about water system that is going to need new piping, and piping is expensive. We've got to start now. And the Water and Sewer Commission is recommending a two-phase program, and we'd like to see it implemented.
And real quick, obviously, you put more time into this town than anybody, so this isn't personal, it's no disrespect intended. But I sat in this same chair in 2023, and I heard the exact same thing. This is to get us back to even. I heard the exact same thing in 2023. And that was my argument to my council members who were very nervous, and I think even the mayor was a little nervous about increasing rates for the first time. And I said, guys, we got to get back to even. We got to get there. This will get us there. The changing in the water meters, and then we up this, and and we're doing a sliding scale where people that use more are gonna pay more, right? And I sold it to the citizens that way. It's been about a year and 10 months, and we're back to it. I have nothing to sell.
Okay.
I have nothing to sell because I don't have confidence that this will get us back to even. There's nothing sitting here showing me that it will. There's nothing sitting here showing any of us that it will. Nothing. So, what are we doing? In my opinion. Somebody comes to your door and asks you for money and says, hey, this will get you back to square one. You gonna blanketly hand it to them, or do you wanna see something? You wanna see something in writing? Do you want a contract? Do you wanna see at least a best guesstimate of where we're gonna be in 8 to 10 years? That's all I'm asking for. And if we weren't sitting here a year and 11 months ago, I probably wouldn't be saying this. But I've heard it before. This will get us back to even, and we're not. So, you know, with all due respect, we did pass a $500,000 deficit in a budget. But this won't even get us there if it's only $8 a person. So what are we talking about? What do we need? What do we need? You're throwing darts at a wall and hoping it sticks. And I don't feel comfortable doing that financially. Go ahead, Doug.
Thanks for your comments. I want to sit here and listen to what everybody had to say and kind of work at it from a last guy speaking. What this ordinance is meant to do is basically triage to get us back to where we consider ourselves with the best knowledge that we have back to an even state. You can question that, but we do know what the deficit is, and we do know what we need to do to get back to that break-even point. Having said that, you know, the first part, for me, when this first came up, when Dick first came into the office and we started talking about it, and it was mentioned, it was a matter of coming up with an ordinance that would get something to the table that we could start talking about. And that's where we are. We got an ordinance here, and you know, and it's brought it to the forefront that we definitely have an issue. As far as the long-term and capital improvement plan, I think it is needed, and I do think that you know, this was our first stab at triaging the deficit that we're in, and you know, and then taking it forward from here, going into our next budget cycle. That would certainly come up, as would other issues such as the fire company and things like that. So, you know, this was kind of our gateway into further discussing this. So I'll respect whatever the council's vote is on this, and we'll take it from there. So, thanks.
Council President, would like to, the wonders of AI and phones here. So you were saying we don't know if this will even get us even. Okay, I can say the average rate has been 5.35% per year from 52 to 25. Additionally, water bills have risen at nearly twice the rate of inflation in recent years, with an average increase of 7.1% year over year reported in March 2024. So the 8% seems to be, as Dick indicated, seems to be right in line with what the rate of increases have been for the water and sewer. So this will at least, as Dick said, will hopefully get some money back into it, get us on level footing, solid ground to do it. And I'll agree with you, we do need long-range plans and things of that nature, but when contracts are done for water and sewer, I'm not saying it's incorrect to presume what the cost is, but then you have to start figuring grants, federal, state level grants, so the true cost is not known. We can best guess of the town pays for it all, like the main line down the Main Street that was replaced was close to $1 million. Luckily, we were able to get a DHCD grant or bond bill that paid for most of it. So, but we have to pay the bond back, but if not, we would have to take, if we weren't able to get the bond, we would have to basically find the money out of the budget somewhere to pay for it. So it's kind of hard to judge the exact cost of it for public works projects. I know we would love to and need to and get the best guess estimate, but at least for the next 3 years or 2.5 years, the 8% seems to be a justified or a solid number for right now, if no major projects. I don't believe we have any major projects coming up in the next 3 years that haven't been completed, correct? So it's just basically to get it. And I'm willing to consider or entertain something that by 2028, we should have a, I want to say a long-term or minimum 5 to 10-year assessment ready to start choosing, because the best planning can be, I want to say, thrown to the wind if something unexpected happens. Like we expected one year to do a water main replacement, but then a major pump goes bad or something else fails. So that's kind of, and then we have to readjust. But I would rather see to get on level footing, and at the same time, I don't mind putting in there or addressing to see if we can get a long-range plan put together in 3 months, not 3 months, in a couple years, within the next year or so.
So that was my,
That's my thought. Sorry, Mayor. Sorry, Council President.
do you have any idea how long it will take to put a long-range plan together?
If you don't mind.
Oh, hi.
I'm just taking this in right now. We have a capital improvement plan. Don't want you to think that we don't have one. Not the council hasn't always asked for it, whatever. We generally look at it as a 5-year plan, but we do have longer outreach as to what we're expecting. There is a large project coming up. We've done 2 of our water towers. Our 3rd water tower is in need of it. We just did a ROVE, a remote operated vehicle that swims through the water and does an inspection of it. That was just done this past year. So that's going to be roughly $1 million project. I think it's estimated like $800,000. But we have done nothing but capital improvements in the past 20 years, and I can give you a summary because I know a lot of you are new to what's been done in the past, and so I'd like to get you updated. I've done that with a previous council before of what our capital plan is and that sort of thing. So I feel like I owe that to you all, so that you have what we need moving forward. As far as the rates go, I haven't looked at the rates as much as the Water and Sewer Commission has, so I can't comment on where that is, but I think the 24% or 26% is going to help us get back to where we need to be. For now, we've had a lot of ARPA money. We've had a lot of other, all of our PFAS is being funded. So there's a lot of good capital projects going on right now. They're already fully funded. Our water meters were fully funded. We had two water main projects, actually a 3rd with a small one over by the elementary school that was fully funded. So we have a lot of things that were fully funded, but still, we're still falling behind a little bit. So again, getting us caught up would help, but having a rate structure that would add a certain percentage each year and not get to where we need to add 25, 40%, in a couple years. We should be adding 3% every year or something on that. So we should be looking towards that once we get ourselves back level. But
And let me correct myself, Barney, as you can, sorry to interrupt. There is one project capital project that might be coming up. We just don't know the true cost of it yet, and that's the lead line replacement, service line replacement that's being mandated by the federal government and the state. I believe we have gotten some money to conduct a study, and based on the study, it will depend on how much money we get, I think, to replace it. It's just that they want the lead lines replaced in the older homes, and it's just the supply lines from, say, the road to the house that could be lead.
right. And we're supposed to hear, I think, this month on whether we get that funding that we applied for in January.
Yeah, so it's hard to judge the true costs, and then if we get it wrong, we unnecessarily raise the rates to a level that we don't need. That's my 2 cents, Council
We didn't
President.
feel attacked.
No, it just makes it sound like we're not planning for anything, but the truth is.
That wasn't my thing.
We are planning for a lot of things.
And I have no doubt that you are. I mean, as a matter of fact, I know you are. The
Yeah.
problem is we're the ones with the burden to actually vote it into action, and we just didn't know, and we don't know. And we've already done it once with the statement that this will get us back to even, and it's less than 2 years later, and all of a sudden, we're in a $500,000 deficit again, and
No, I get you.
8% year over year to get it back, which I still don't believe 8% year over year is going to get us back. Steve?
Yeah, just a couple quick comments. Again, just don't shoot the messenger. So I am on the Water and Sewer Commission as the liaison, but I used to go to the meetings before that because I had an interest. So I try and do a lot of listening. And what I heard through my listening of the Water and Sewer Commission members is I appreciate, Barney, your efforts to have a plan, and I know you've done a lot of replacement and refurbishment. What I heard from the members was the level of detail and expectation, my words, soup to nuts, in terms of a good, solid, 5-year, long-term capital and operating plan. I don't think they were seeing what they wanted to see. That's my observation, okay? Second point, again, I do think we need to look at the rate structure. I learned a lot in this process. Your first 6,000 to 8,000 gallons of use, that's a lot of your seniors. We want to try and keep the rates, low for the people who are resource limited and our seniors. And so I think we need a rate structure that's fair, that everyone pays their fair share, but let's be mindful of people in need and our seniors. About 80% of the water usage is residential, about 20% is commercial and industrial. Councilmember Kelly, you are correct. There are some pretty big price point jumps between 20,000 to 20,000 uses for water. My point is, are those price point differences at the right place? Should they be different? Should some be higher or lower? On the sewer side, like I said, if you look at the sewer side, it's a pretty flat rate. There's not a lot of, you can be using a ton of water and you're not paying much more per 1,000 gallons than somebody who's using not that much. I'm in a newspaper article back when the water rates were raised in 2023? Because I voted against the increase then, and the point I made, it was to Council President Washabaz, I said, the increase is helping to chip away, but you're not addressing the full need. So I'm not going to vote for an increase now. It's doing nothing for the total need, and I'm not even sure how much this is going to address that small portion of the need. So maybe we ought to think about starting to work on a capital improvement plan. Is this something we could have by February or March so that we have it during the budget cycle, that we could actually look at it and factor it into when we do the next budget? The water rates, my understanding, that's already in the budget. I mean, I know we're operating in a deficit, but we're in that budget cycle now. So, what's the harm in waiting, trying to do this, what I call a more informed way, really scrub, take a wire brush, as Commissioner Gent would say, and really see if, get our rate structure the way that we think it should be, and then figure out how much we might need to wrap around that if we need to increase rates. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah, and in working with the staff, and I know, Barney, you got a lot of gears turning in the engineering department. I think what a couple of the council members have expressed is putting a capital improvement plan into memo form, something that can be shown to the council, as opposed to something written on your grease board or something that is, that's in a binder on your desk that you're fully aware of, but they may not be. So my question for you is, how long would it take you to put together the information that you're already working on and put it into a form that could be brought to the council in terms of a capital improvement plan?
Sure. I could provide it next month.
Okay. All right. So potentially, if this got postponed for a month, then you could produce a document. Jared, is that fair?
Yes, it is. And to Barney's point, we do have those documents that we could condense down into something, 1 or 2 pager to show everyone. I will say, just one comment. I mean, we do need to be a little bit careful because although we have capital plans already, those are for your standard replacements that we know we need to make based on our current budget and what we're going to be budgeting for over the next 5 years. But because we're in a deficit, the problem is if something outside of those planned replacements were to happen, then you're in a real predicament. We've seen it happen with other towns in right here in Carroll County. I have to name them. We all know where they are. To where it's not an 8% increase anymore. It's a 25% increase that the council then has to go through and approve. And that's the only thing I don't want to see. And I think what the Water and Sewer Commission is really thinking about. If something were to happen and we were to have to do such a large rate increase, going back to the council president's, what he was saying, we haven't had to do it a lot from 2012 till now, a lot of which were the funding that came down the pike that we had, right, for infrastructure. That was one major reason. But I think one of the main reasons we're in this deficit now is because those small increases were not thought about between those years. I think that had a lot to do with it. And so I just cautioning everyone to think about that as we go along, that we don't want to wait another 10 years to think about doing something like this, because then we're going to be a much larger increase again.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of my point. I mean, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts, or just rip the Band-Aid off and be done with it, right? And right now, whether and it's nobody's fault, I don't have any information. So to my point, a citizen comes to me and says, why did you raise water rates? Because we're in a deficit. Why are we in a deficit? What needs to be done? What's been done? We don't have any answers. In 2023, we had a little bit of answers, right? I could kind of explain that with the tax increase. I could absolutely explain that. And I even had an open forum here where anybody could come and talk about it, and I would tell them exactly what we were doing, exactly why we were raising taxes. We're looking at a 24% increase that we're being told will get us back to even. Well, even doesn't help us if we have something that pops up like you just mentioned, right? So if it needs to be a higher increase, but we have the reasons for it, I'd rather do that, because then I can at least explain to you why we're going into our own pockets and your pockets. I have backup. I have a reason. Right now, we're saying 24% is going to get us back to net zero. Well, net zero doesn't help us if something pops up, So if it needs to be a bigger increase, but I have a reason for the bigger increase, I'm much more comfortable with that than death by 1,000 paper cuts for no reason at all.
Council President, okay, because it sounds like what I'm hearing here is that you're willing to entertain a rate increase as long as you have a presentation, reasons, or ability to sell it to the public. I'm putting this in my own.
Well, I'm gonna put it in my words.
Okay, you would feel better if
My words are, I'm not gonna go in your wallet and pull your money out.
Yeah.
And tell you I'm taking this, but I'm not gonna tell you why.
Okay, that's what it.
That's the best way I can.
I get what you.
Right?
Yeah,
Does it
I'm-
need to be done? Absolutely. I
Yeah,
think
okay.
most citizens know it needs to be done. But in order to do it, in order to be responsible for other people's earned money,
Yeah, I feel comfortable
we
doing it.
need to know
Okay.
how much, how long, why, and then like our town administrator said, maybe there needs to be a year-over-year plan where it might just have to do something, and we don't have to keep doing these major increases every, however long it is.
Well,
But whatever it is, I think that we need to stop Band-Aiding it, and we need to fix it.
Okay.
And
So,
this is just another Band-Aid.
okay, so let me propose this if your mayor is, so it sounds like more discussion needs to be had on this topic. It sounds like we can potentially postpone it till the November meeting with Barney or someone doing a presentation or a memo style of capital projects and maybe go over the the list some more. We're beginning the new budget cycle, so we'll be able to potentially get a better number, at least for the first year or so, to see if the 8% that seems like the good average right now is sufficient to get us through the first year or so and build a little bit of a bank, and then look at the out years too for a potential same or higher rate increase, but provide more information on why this is needed to you and the council. Does that sound like fair?
I mean, I'm not going to speak for the council.
Oh, no, I'm
So
just saying.
My thoughts were to postpone, to seek more information, to seek, if these other towns are increasing at a major rate, there's a reason why.
Okay.
Right? This is not a political thing for me. I'm not afraid to do whatever we have to do from a town thing.
And that's,
We just need to fix the issue. In 2023, let's fix the issue.
Okay.
2025, let's fix the issue.
So let me ask the mayor this, or I don't want to speak for the council. Is a month, when is the November meeting? Is a month, well, by the November meeting, does that allow enough time to get some of this information and concerns?
Can you put it in memo form?
Sure. Yeah, I don't see any problem.
And Jared, that's fair?
The other town rates and see if, I know Woodsboro is raising it, some other, Emmitsburg just raised theirs, and some other local municipalities raised some, because I just don't want to get to a point where councils like to kick the can down the road. And this is unfortunately one topic that we can't kick down the road too much longer. We've kicked it down once, previous councils have kicked it down for years, and now all of a sudden we're at the point where we no longer can again. But I'll agree with the council president, I want to be able to explain more. Maybe I'll be able to put something together to show my $8 a month increase if I figured it out right.
Sean Jefferson.
yeah, so, first of all, I don't mind telling you, so I've learned a couple things. The 2023 increase, and we're sort of, singing the same song as that. So I don't mind telling you, I've been enlightened by a few things here, so thank you very much. I'm concerned that the capital improvements plan for the next few, I'm not sure that's the whole picture that I'm hearing we need, right? I think what I'm hearing is, and I would share this, I think what would put us all at ease, and we could look people in the eye and say, well, this is the reason that we raised. I think we want to see a multi-year forecast, costs, and what revenue it takes to come to zero. It's not just capital improvements, right? And I think I'm also hearing that multi-year, and again, this probably, I could shut up, this might already exist, right? But they need to include, reserves and contingencies, right, for what the town administrator was talking about. But we want to see this budgeted plan that we know, number one, it's already in a hole, it will increase, and then what revenues need to occur in order for that to be balanced. So again, it's not just the capital projects, it's that whole picture. I just wanted to say that. I think that's what we're looking for.
And we're talking about it going into effect on January 1, 2026. So we're sitting in October, we do have November, we do have December. I'm not comfortable, me personally, that's all I can speak for, rushing another increase. So do we need it? Yes. Does it need to be done right? Yes. And do we have to have facts to support why we are doing it? Yes, my opinion. So, whatever those facts are, there's people a lot smarter than me that can generate those facts that can basically make me comfortable enough to talk to someone who asked me why I voted the way I voted.
Yeah. And I get it going in January. I was thinking about even proposing something later before I said, okay, never mind. It's like, because I didn't like the 6 months, it just doesn't make, a short 6 month little thing. We could always, if we don't feel comfortable by December to do it, we could always, introduce something in January or another ordinance, not pass this one and then change it again, but say rewrite this ordinance kind of saying tack the 6 months onto the tail end of it. Instead of beginning in January, it goes a little bit longer if we need that extra time to build the thing back up. So it's not like adding more, it's just instead of at the beginning of it, it's at the end of it. Instead of 2 years, it's just reversing the extra 6 months at the tail end of the rate increase instead of at the beginning of the rate increase, if we need some extra time to get to the point of proper reserves.
So what I'll do is I know that Carl, I believe you were the original.
Yeah, I'll postpone it, yeah.
I'll make a motion to postpone if you'll allow it, and with this postponement, it's not a tabling, so the ordinance can change with it being postponed.
Yeah.
And then be represented
Yeah.
at a later meeting. Maybe it doesn't have to be, but I definitely need more information to say yes. So I'd make a motion to postpone if.
Yeah, I'll accept it, because I'm the one that asked you to allow the public to speak and everything else, because I want to make sure that we all hear the public's comments and thoughts on this, since we are dealing with, as you say, reaching into their wallets and pocketbooks for more money.
Do we have a second on the postponement?
I'll second.
Okay. And then, do we just need that?
Well,
If that needs a vote or not.
Just to cover our butts, why don't we just.
Yeah.
We have a postponement. It was accepted by the original movement. It was seconded by Councilmember Kelly. All in favor to postpone ordinance 2025-19 to a future meeting. It could be
That sounds right, just leave it a future meeting.
please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Good discussion, everyone, I appreciate that. And thank you very much, Mr. Swanson, for your information. All right, next up, we have unfinished business, and it is a comprehensive master plan discussion with Councilmember Demoter. I do believe we had a motion, we had a second. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so we'll just open back up the discussion portion. All right, you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure, thank you. And could you give me a 30-second warning if I'm talking too much? All right, so this is serious business to me. I believe that the master plan needs to be amended to fully align and harmonize the rezonings for the South Main Street with the votes that this council has taken on 3 times for these properties. So again, the master plan presents a vision for rezoning the entire end of extended South Main Street. That's 20 properties. The vision in the master plan is we want to take all those residential properties, change them all to commercial, and in addition, we want to carry that down Main Street, down past Carter Q, and have commercial creep come down that area as well. That's the vision that's in the current master plan. We have taken 3 votes as a council that says we don't like that vision. This is not the vision that the citizens who live in those areas have, nor the broader citizenry as expressed through the 2020 community survey, nor this council. Again, we voted 3 times to say we don't want that. So I think that vision is clearly out of touch with the wants and vision of our citizens, most importantly, the people who live there. You heard some of those comments at the beginning of the meeting. In my view, this is going to be one of the most important votes of my second term. This, to me, is just as important as my vote was when the previous council voted to rezone the Beck property to MXD and relax the open space standards, and I voted against both of those. I think this is going to have longer-reaching ramifications than people are thinking. Without amending the master plan in the manner I'm suggesting, that portion of the current master plan, if left alone, I believe has a critical flaw. And any future decisions tangential to the rezoning for the South Main Street as presented in the master plan without any amendments will be shaped in a manner not aligned with our citizens' wishes. So if you look at land use planning guidance, it clearly says if a town council rejects proposed rezonings within a master plan, the plan should be amended to reflect that decision. A master plan serves as a guide for future development, and rejecting rezoning requests indicates a change in the town's vision for those areas. Ignoring these rejections and leaving them in the plan would create inconsistencies and confusion. But it does more than that. It also opens up our town to high-hazard, high-consequence events through formalized land use challenges by the property owners who wish to rezone their property to commercial. And I believe they would have a standing to do so because they're going to come back and say, the master plan says you were going to rezone these properties to commercial. It's in the plan, you approved the plan. Not only does my property on its own merits should be rezoned, but you included it as part of a vision of 20 properties for all commercial. So you need to rezone my property. I believe that's the situation you're setting the town up for, is that kind of a consequence. My biggest sadness, quite honestly, on this are the citizens who live at the end of South Main Street. Because they think this is all done. They think, well, you guys took a vote, I'm safe. My property's not going to get rezoned. My neighbor's not going to turn commercial, I'm good. And they don't realize that at any time, it could be 2 months from now, a year from now, 3 years from now, if those properties stay in the master plan, any council member can come and bring an ordinance piecemeal and say, property X, I want that rezoned to commercial. And one of two bad things is going to happen. Either council members will flip and decide, I'll rezone that commercial, I changed my mind, which I think it would be bad for the citizens who live at the end of Main Street. If we hold our guns and say, no, I voted no 3 times, I'm voting a 4th time. I think that's the right thing to do, but again, once we do that, some of those property owners are going to say, you got a signed master plan. It says you agreed to rezone my property commercial. I'm taking consequential action to the town. So I could talk more. I've laid out my position at the last 2 council meetings. The last point is, I believe land use planning law, so to speak, has changed since the 2013 plan. It used to be you wrote a master plan and had a collection of plans and ideas, and we might want to change this zoning to this and do that and maybe annex. But a law changed, and the law changed to now say, when you have a master plan, that master plan serves as a guide for actions you intend to take. So it's not just a collection of willy-nilly, I may do these things. You are basically saying, my rezonings and such that I have in my master plan, I'm not kidding, guys. I'm going to implement this. These are actions I intend to take. And because of that, again, you've got this schism for what's in the master plan and now what the council has voted on. 2 different visions, and that's why I believe the right thing to do, it may be a little painful, it's a lot of work. There are some other risks associated with taking that approach. The right thing to do from a policy perspective is to act now and amend the master plan. And that's where I sit on the matter. So thank you.
I'll go, Council President, if you're looking for people. Well, unfortunately, on this one, normally, if it was just a simple action of amending the master plan, I would say, okay, I'm willing to take a look at it. But unfortunately, it's not as easy as Councilman Demoter is making it out to be. This past session, the General Assembly passed SB 266, HB 287, which has upended, in my view, and probably a lot of other municipalities' views, the master planning process in general. While it seems like it's easier by reducing 12 visions down to 8, unfortunately, those 8 visions now the master plan has to comprise those 8 visions. And some of those visions are very much different than what our master plan currently has in it. And it's also, I believe we've checked with the State Department of Planning and things of that, and unfortunately, we would have to redo the whole master plan under the current law. It's just not, oh, looking at these, take these 12 properties out, amend it to that. It is rewriting a whole master plan for the town. And I'm not sure, I can defer to the planning commission if they have the time for a bunch of volunteers to put in another year and a half on it, then go to the planning commission and basically rework the whole master plan process. And we will end up with a master plan that is far different than what we have now. And I'm not saying those 12 properties don't deserve to be taken out, but we run a true risk of ending up with a master plan for land use, housing types, everything else that is truly different, and it will cause us more, I don't want to say trouble or hassle, but more concern in the long run for how this town develops over the next 10 years. So that's basically I can say with everything's coming down related to housing right now from the state level, we have a past master plan. Is it perfect in some people's views? No. But as long as I'm on this council, I'm not going to change my mind or go against the existing wishes of the council. A person can bring in any changes. I've gone through it a couple times with other landowners. The council does not have to approve a request. They can tell anyone no. So it's just whoever sits at this desk needs to decide what is best for the town, leaving it as it is or changing it a little bit. I'm going to say no for everything that's, if an individual landowner or somebody brings something different. But I'm more afraid of ending up with a plan in the long run for the next 10 years that can be far worse for this town than what it is now of a general concern of some potential residential changing to commercial, unfortunately. So that's my discussion right now on it. I wish Tom was here to alleviate some stuff, but I'm good. Thank you, Mr. President.
Sure, thank you. Yeah. First of all, I'd like to, I'm trying to find the right words, not the wrong words.
I know, it's not easy, is it? It's hard being on this side.
I'd like to get our stuff together because I've heard from planning commission members who went through significant turnover in the home stretch of the master plan, and the town council, 4/5 are still sitting here, that they were told that they didn't need to deliberate, they didn't need to debate Chapter 4. They could do it at the table. And that's what we've done. So that's not the whole issue, that's a related issue, but going forward, we really need to get that ironed out because there's different shades and different stories there. Regarding the extended South Main property specifically, I was most really uncomfortable with the fact of, and I, as a citizen, I brought this up in, I believe it was the last workshop. I was uncomfortable with, this whole swath of property owners, 12 or 20, whatever it is, they all want it. no, it's, I was kind of shushed and no. And then 6, 8 months later, I'm knocking on doors and some of them are in tears. Some of them, no, we just moved here. No, we just moved here. This is my first home. So things change. The homeowners had turnover. The planning commission had turnover. The master plan is not a contract. It is not a binding contract. Councilman Munner just said, it's up to the town council to execute those or not. Lastly, I'm disappointed that some citizens were told that it's in their best interest that we do this. Others have said that it's not just as simple as opening up Chapter 4, amending some text, and closing it. It's an entire process, and I believe that the pros outweigh the cons of leaving it be. If it was going to, if we needed to go back and amend these plans, I don't know, why don't we go back to 2013? Let's make that match reality. I mean, we could say that there was an MXD ordinance issued for a specific development. We could say, oh, well, the plan called for, it didn't support the O'Brien property being rezoned, but oh, no, let's rezone it after being scared and fooled. So master plan doesn't always match reality. Thank you.
I have a very quick follow-up whenever it's the right time. Very short.
Yeah, I'll go real quick. I'll tell you, go ahead, Steve.
Well, I just want to offer a differing point of view. So I heard Councilmember Munder say, and I heard other people say this, well, I'm sitting here on the council and I have no intent of changing my vote. Those properties can come up and I'm going to stand firm on that. This was the whole point of one of my points is, if you do that, that's great, but that property owner who wanted it switched to commercial, I believe will take consequential action because they will have grounds to say, you have a signed master plan that says you're going to rezone my property commercial, and legislatively you said you're not going to rezone my property. You said you're going to do that in the master plan, and you approved that. And they're going to have, I believe, standing to challenge the town. The other quick comment is, I think Councilmember Kelly, you said, well, this isn't a binding contract. To the point I made, and I got this from our advisors, it's that line I said about a law being changed that said, your master plan is now a guide upon which you plan to take action. So it kind of is more weighty like a contract. It's saying, I'm intending to take these actions. And it's not just a menu of stuff I may or may not do. So I just wanted to rebut those points. Thank you.
So first, I want to thank Councilman DeMotor for his patience, because we have kind of talked about this for probably, 3 months now? And actually even longer than that. But we were on the cusp of making a vote last month that had unintended consequences that none of us were aware of, and even our town attorney at the time was not aware of, which is why we had a recess and why we had to discuss it, and then why we subsequently had a meeting to really dig into what would happen if we did reopen the master plan. My thoughts were, hey, we're looking at Chapter 4, and I think I even said it, we're looking at Chapter 4, and we're only going to look at the properties that are being listed and nothing else. And in my head, that sounds very easy. Well, unfortunately, the state does not allow that to happen. The entire plan opens up, and I would highly suggest everyone to go look at what was passed on October 1st, because once we open it up, what was passed on October 1st gets put into our master plan, whether we wanted to or not. And that does not align with, I believe, anyone's vision sitting at this table or anyone in our town. So, the unintended consequences of certain things can really hurt you if you're making decisions that you don't know what the ramifications are completely on all sides. The fact is, the master plan is not a zoning action. You are not guaranteed to be rezoned just because you're in a master plan. You're just not. I can go back to 2013 and I can look at 7 different, 8 different, maybe even 30 different things that are in that master plan that didn't get done. That have probably been in the master plans for 30 years that didn't get done. And I think, Ralph, I was at a meeting where you even pulled some stuff out. Like, this has been in here for 30 years and it's just wasting space. It's never gonna get done, so let's just pull it out. Okay, so, if a property owner wants to challenge, okay, that's fine. Because the master plan is not a zoning action. It's a thought process that if these properties were to be rezoned, they will be rezoned commercial because it's a good spot for commercial. Sure. If the legislative body decides to rezone them. Well, we didn't. And therefore, they're in there, that if they were to be rezoned again in the future or whatever, that's up to that legislative body. But I don't believe that they will be rezoned. And frankly, what the state wants put into this master plan, I have no interest in putting that in there either. So, my thoughts are, this is when the citizens need to be involved. If you're worried about the commercial entity being put onto Extended South Main Street, I suggest you vet the people that are running for reelection or running for election period. I suggest you get out and vote for people that align with your train of thought. Because honestly, anything could happen based on that master plan from this legislative body. So it's very important to know who you're voting for, know what they stand for, and what they're willing to do and what they're willing not to do. But the pros do not outweigh the cons when reopening this master plan. Not if we have to open up the whole thing. I don't like that. I wish we could just change Chapter 4. In my heart of hearts, I do. But I'll tell you this, I won't vote for anybody in the future that says they want Extended South Main to turn to commercial. So, somebody wants to challenge that? Okay, we've been challenged before, and we've turned out just fine. So I'm comfortable with that. But the master plan is not a zoning action. And there is no contract, there is no guarantee, and to be quite honest, we don't owe a landowner anything. You bought a residential property. If you want it commercial, that's fine. If it's in the best interest of the town, we'll do it. If it's not, we won't. But if you need a judge to decide that, then I'm comfortable going that route. So that's where I'm at on it. Yep.
Yeah, I think I'll let you look at this before I read it. Is this the motion that was made without all my scribble all over it? Because I can read through it just to read it into the record, because right now we're discussing a motion, but the citizens don't know what that motion is.
Yeah.
Okay, so Councilmember Demoter's motion was, I make the motion that the town community planning director be directed to submit for the Planning Commission's consideration proposed amendments to the current town master comprehensive plan for later consideration by this town council as follows. 1, that the master plan be amended to remove from the list of properties that were recommended to be rezoned those properties that have not been rezoned. 2, that as to any properties that have been rezoned but to zoning districts other than those recommended by the current master plan, that the master plan be amended to reflect recommendations consistent with the rezoning of those properties by the town council. And then 3, that certain clerical errors be corrected as indicated by Councilmember Demoter's red lines, which he planned on providing to the zoning administrator. or the community planning director is the way he put it. So that's the motion that was on the table, and I'll just chime in a couple of tidbits before you hold the vote on that. And one of them is that the Planning Commission has already done their job. They created a master plan. They had several workshops. They had several meetings. John's put together a chronological order of all the meetings and everything that went into that. And it was a multi-year process, and they gave you the recommendation. So to send it back to them and to ask the Planning Commission to come up with a different recommendation is unfair. They did their job, and they provided you with their best recommendation. The other thing is, when we talk about all the properties on South Main, and I am sympathetic to the residents that are down there, I get it, but the biggest chunk of property down there is the Voslo property, which is at the intersection of I-70 and Highway 27. Across from McDonald's and Chick-fil-A. If that's not a large chunk of property that would eventually be zoned commercial, then there's nowhere in town that would be zoned commercial. The intersection of 70 and Highway 27. What happens to the residents that are adjoining that in terms of zoning, that's up to the future councils. They'll figure that out. They'll do what they need to do. We've shown over the time that I've been the mayor and even the time I was on the council that zonings occur, sometimes on a whim. And sometimes the zonings come in because of that significant change. And sometimes the zonings come in because of a mistake. And sometimes somebody comes in with a mistake, which is documented on paper, such as a map error, and we still didn't rezone them. And that was the Voslo property. So, these are things that are handled by the council at that time. I'm not in favor of kicking anything back to a planning commission that did an excellent job putting things together. And I'm not in favor of the council having me direct staff to go back and redo it again. So the council held a vote. I understand why some council members feel like they didn't get the whole story, and it was the first time that you have sat through a master plan. So I totally get it. Why you would think that you thought there was another bite at the apple at some point. I totally understand that. And maybe that was something that I should have understood going into it and emphasized to you. So I apologize for that. But this master plan is passed. I think that certainly there were two council members at the table who introduced it or made the motion and seconded the motion. So it's my recommendation that you live with what you got and we deal with these zonings as they come at us, as opposed to what we did in the beginning, which was one big mass rezoning. We'll just deal with these as they come at us one at a time. That's my recommendation. So thank you.
Yeah, and that's even if they come at us, but what I will tell you is nobody's going to come at that podium and demand anything based on this master plan. That's not the way master plans work. There's no guarantees, there's no contract that's being signed. That's why a vote has to take place. So you can, on one hand, say that it's in the master plan, you no longer need to vote to rezone my property. Well, yes, we do. We need to vote for it because it's not guaranteed. So there is no contract. There is no nothing. It's up to this legislative body if they choose to rezone it, which is why I don't believe that if anyone tried to challenge just the mere fact that it's in the master plan as commercial would hold any weight when going in court against this body. I don't believe it holds any water at all. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to vote. If it was already a contract and it was already set in stone, you wouldn't have to bring it back to us. So, what I'm going to say is this. The master plan process was one that we all went through for the first time in the shared seating that we're in. I want to say at one point, I think the words government malpractice were mentioned, and I don't believe that to be accurate. What I will tell you, it was council president malpractice. It was on me. I'm the head of this I'm sorry, whoops. I'm the head of this, this governing body. And when I asked the question, will we get a chance to do this, I should have asked more questions. I should have known exactly what the process was before moving forward. This isn't on town staff. This isn't on a mayor. This isn't on anybody. When it comes to this council, you guys put me in this seat to make sure that things happen the right way. And for that, they didn't, and I'm sorry that I did not ensure that we had that opportunity. But that does not mean that I'm willing to then accept everything that was voted on October 1st to be put into our master plan. So, you know, I just, I apologize for that. I apologize to the council. But I don't think that it is an end-all, be-all mistake. You know, I think that this master plan is fine. I do think that if those properties were to ever be rezoned, which as long as I'm on this council, they will not be, they would go commercial, I'm sure. I don't believe they should be rezoned. But you know, I think that that's just kind of where it has to be and where we need to leave it. So, you know, with that, I think we can probably get to a vote. So we had, does anyone else wish to speak? Or we, okay. So with that, I will go ahead and vote it out. So can I see your paper? So we did have a motion by Councilmember Munder that the Councilmember Demoter, that the Community Planning Director be directed to submit for the Planning Commission's consideration proposed amendments to the current town master or comprehensive plan, or comprehensive plan for the later consideration by this town council as follows. The master plan be amended to remove from the list of the properties that were recommended to be rezoned, there's properties that have not been rezoned. That as to any properties that have been rezoned, but to zoning districts other than those recommended by the current master plan, that the master plan be amended to reflect recommendations consistent with the rezoning of the properties by the town council, and that certain clerical errors be corrected as indicated by my red lines, which I will provide to the community planning director. All in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Nay.
Hey.
But there was no second to this motion.
There was, I actually seconded it.
My bad.
No, it's okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Then moving on, we're going to move into closed session under 3-305B for litigation, which I think will be quick because he's not here. And 3-305B subset 3 for land acquisition. At the conclusion of those closed sessions, this town council meeting will be adjourned. We will roll call into closed session. So I'll start with Councilmember Demoter.
Aye.
Councilmember Munder.
Aye.
Council Secretary Evans.
Aye.
Council Secretary Kelly, or Councilmember Kelly.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. We'll see everybody next month. Thank you.